Assalamu alaikum. Shukran for joining us on this week's An Nur the Light. We are a nation of doers, but every so now and then we need to stop, take a breath and ponder about our journey in life. Unfortunately, this is not the case for Waleed Zindagi as he continues to push himself all the way to the top.
Waleed Ditta is the 21-year-old entrepreneur breaking new ground in the friendly city. After a car injury brought his life to a standstill, Waleed decided to embrace life wholeheartedly, birthing his unique venture, the Ditson's lifestyle platform.
Ditson's is actually the name of my company, Ditson's Group, and our slogan or the caption for our lifestyle platform that we've recently launched is Style Your Zindagi. Zindagi is actually an Urdu word or a Pakistani word pronounced Zindagi, and it means life. So basically what we're doing is styling your life, whether it be by buying products from our outlet or by reading our blogs. We'd like to develop a nice group of bloggers, young people that are passionate about specific groups where they can be blogging quality for the people to read.
Ditson's is a multi-pronged business encompassing an exclusive clothing boutique, restaurant and lounge. It's situated in Port Elizabeth, bringing big city living to the small southeastern town.
We've got a mini boutique area, so it's just 2 racks with a few of the products, a few of the clothing items from my clothing line. We've got that on display so that people can get a feeling, get a touch of our quality and things like that, and build their trust in our brand, you know. Then we've got a bit of a formal restaurant, so a strictly smart dress code in the evening. Yes, it's a style house that we're trying to get across. So obviously we have to maintain that sort of style code, you know. Slower paced music playing in the background and candle lights, less lighting, so that it can be relaxing, you know, for couples and for elderly families and things like that. Then outside is where we've got a bit of a lounge area. So that is where we have a pair of strobe lights, not loud music, but upbeat music that plays and things like that, just to attract the younger crowd as well.
As an entrepreneur, Waleed feels it's important to support other small businesses. His cakes come from a local supplier who is well known for making delicious and tasteful treats.
I honestly believe that a man cannot rise up alone. If he wants to grow, he needs to grow with his community, with the people around them. Because if I support business, if I support local butcheries, if I support local baker ladies, if I support the local handcrafts, designers, things like that, all of these different, it's not just individual people that we are supporting. We are supporting families, ladies that have kids that are going to school, students that are going to university that obviously can do do a lot more with the extra bit of income. People that are sending money home for their families, things like that.
Waleed is Pakistani but was raised in South Africa. Not only is he passionate about business, but every week he's out and about doing his best to contribute to society.
Look, it's amazing what he's doing, what he's done already, because he's been involved in the community long before he started this. I don't know if he told you he's been handing out sports clothing to struggling clubs in the townships. So he's always been involved and with this thing, I just think it's amazing.
It started off with my dad actually giving us the idea of going out to feed the poor people, cooking a nice pot of either biryani or dal and rice or something like that. We don't only feed Muslims. I mean, it's wherever a person is hungry, even as we are driving, you know, if there's a person hanging on the street, we just quickly pull over onto the side and dish out a box for them or dish out a plate for them, and we feed them, no matter who is, whether they're white, green, yellow.
Zindagi is the Urdu word for life, a word which strongly resonated with the enterprising Waleed at a time when life seemed least promising. Today, Waleed has not only embraced life, but is inspiring others along the way.
After seeing all that Waleed is trying to accomplish, I feel that maybe I've even set my bar a bit too low. That's one busy young man. Big ups to him. Let's go see what our Gauteng fashionistas got going for us.
love my pumps, my heels. I love experimenting with new styles of hijabs that will go with every different occasion and look. I think in every day you can bring out a new style with your hijab.
Style and fashion is a vital aspect to everything towards myself. Growing up as a young individual, what I like to believe is that it's anything that you're comfortable within, you know. As long as you wear it comfortably with a smile, I call that fashion, you know.
I don't have a specific style, but for me, it's whatever is good. You know, I always struggled with my weight from young. So it was always dressing to suit my body type. And my mum, from when I was younger, always said, don't wear something that's too tight, that's too revealing, because you don't want people to look at you and see your actual shape. I'm wearing a black skirt and this beautiful blush pink top, and it was actually put together by a friend of mine who sews skirts and tops. And so this was actually a part of a dress, and I hated it. So she took the whole dress apart and she made it into two separate pieces.
The look that I'm actually going for today is a very semi-formal look. Black jeans, a boot, scarf, I like to call this a long top, and a casual jacket, you know, just to break it up. The colors itself are very mid-tone colors, from your lights to your darks, your grays.
The outfit that I'm wearing today is a cropped denim jeans with a bit of like a slight sprinkle of glitter in it and a little bit of sequins. And I'm also wearing a lace trimmed throw. These long throws are very in at the moment because they're very modest and trendy currently. And I've tied my scarf towards the back so that at the same time I've been covering the neckline.
I look up to a lot of YouTubers. I mean, I'm obsessed with YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel myself. But when I look at Islam and how people dress, I look up to Anam Ahmed, Dina Tokyo, Amina Kin.
I do follow a lot of trends in terms of celebrities, their style, what's new in fashion. I mean, it's most natural. But alternatively speaking, I look at my own personality, what I'm comfortable with, how I want to carry myself, and that's how I choose my outfit.
Growing up, I've grown up with my mum and my older cousins. I loved how they used to drape their scarves and their hijabs, and that kind of inspired me. Looking at them and my older cousins, I would look at them and think they are very modern, yet with their hijab.
I know you know a stylish brother or sister who inspires you in the way they dress. Why not send us their details and we'll get in touch so they can be featured on the show. June 16th commemorates Youth Day, and with the passing of Comrade Ahmed Kathrada, we thought it fitting to do a tribute to this giant of the revolution.
Struggle icon and one of the original young lions of the African National Congress, Ahmed Kathrada was recently laid to rest. He dedicated his life to the abolishment of apartheid, for which he was sent to jail along with Nelson Mandela and others in the now famous Rivonia trial.
Ahmed Kathrada is probably one of the last remaining memories we have of the era that shaped our values and our ideals in this country, who gave us a reason to understand that struggling for South Africa is worth fighting for. He is a living memorial to the sacrifices that were made to such a great extent that every other sacrifice is small by comparison. Even in his death, he awoke us to the possibility that our own struggle may be derailed and our own values distorted.
Comrade Ahmed Kathrada was granted an official state funeral, and thousands of stalwarts as well as fellow comrades came to pay their respects.
Comrade KTS, he was a member of the African National Congress. But Comrade Katri belongs to all South Africans. His contribution and the values that his movement stands for was not only for the African National Congress, but was for all South Africans, black and white.
And I met him at a party, at a fundraising party for the first time, and he couldn't dance. He had 2 left feet, but he loved dancing. And we remained friends from that time up till now.
After being released from prison, Ahmed Kathrada served in the very first democratically elected parliament as an ordinary MP. He never accepted the post of minister, even though President Mandela offered this to him. Comrade Kathy, as he was affectionately known, also became the chairperson of the Robben Island Museum and saw it transform from a prison into a place of remembrance.
If you think of the apartheid days, just a simple thing, which was simple but very serious, there were these boards all over, non-Europeans not allowed, Europeans only. There was even a board that said non-Europeans and dogs not allowed, so they reduced people who were not white to the level of dogs. So we were the lesser human beings under apartheid. What 94 brought and freedom they brought was dignity. Dignity as equal human beings.
Former President Kgalema Motlanthe delivered a eulogy that touched on both the life and death of Uncle Kathy. The funeral service in itself was a multi-faith ceremony held under the auspices of the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation.
For a better South Africa and a better world.
Viva Comrade Kathrada, viva! Long live the spirit of Comrade Kathrada, long live. During moments like this, the fragility of the human condition whips up feelings of hate, sorrow, grief, and pain in all of us whom he leaves behind. Yet, we may choose to look at things on the brighter side. If we did, we would realize that such a life as that of Comrade Kathrada is worth celebrating.
Ahmed Kathrada represents a generation who gave their lives for a better South Africa. While we have the freedom they fought for, there is still much to be done to truly liberate this country.
Our young people must understand that comfort today is the enemy. That the victories of the Kathrada generation may ironically be the defeat of the future generation. That we may have won non-racialism and they don't see that there's a problem in the otherization of people. We may have won enough access to education that they may single-mindedly and individualistically be pursuing their individual goals and careers and professions. That we may have beaten back so many existential enemies to our people that they may feel that they have no cause to live for. And so I often go back to Nelson Mandela's speech when he was in the dock and he said what he is prepared to die for. And when he discovered what he was prepared to die for, he knew what he had to live for. So we're not asking young people to die. We're asking them to understand what is worthwhile and then to live for it.
June 16th is known as Youth Day in South Africa, and young people should be able to take up the mantle that has been left by the previous generations. The death of people like Uncle Kathy should act as a catalyst of those who are alive to rededicate their lives and contribute to a South Africa that we can all be proud of. Hambakashle, Comrade Ahmed Kathrada.
Remember, Ahmed Kathrada, Nelson Mandela and others were young people with great ideals, and they managed to overpower a dark force, apartheid. We need more people who are invested in making this country a better place for all who live in it. Who knows, you could be the next Sisulu or Tambo. Time now for this week's Books, Tech and App segment.
This book is a valuable contribution towards understanding the institution of marriage and its relation to Islam. It teaches us that in Islam, a family originates from a marriage, which is regarded as a civil contract. In a Muslim marriage, the couple enters into a covenant with Allah to observe His precepts and injunctions, as expressed in the Holy Quran and the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. The book further provides details on how to perform the marital ceremony. References to verses from the Quran and taking from the Sunnah regarding the establishing of a successful marriage are provided. The rights of both spouses are also discussed.
Education is the best way to fight poverty, yet 1 billion children around the world today, mostly girls, lack access to a proper education. So what if I told you that we could give a child access to an entire library of learning materials, all for the cost of just one book? It works like this. We used to have to spend thousands on encyclopedias so that we could look up anything from A to Z. Today it's bigger, it's better, and it's totally free. What makes the earth rotate? Look it up. Learning Spanish? No problem. Want to brush up on algebra? It's all on the internet, and there's more of it every single day. This all sounds amazing, right? Just one problem. You and I can access it, but 9 out of 10 kids in the world can't. At the Rumi Initiative, we work with local teachers to load the best content onto our low-cost tablets. For $50, a child can access hundreds of textbooks, novels, recorded lectures, quizzes, and learning games. We've started a movement and are exploring active trials around the world. We believe that access to education is a fundamental right. Join us.
Hisnal Muslim, which means Fortress of the Muslim, is a handy app where the user can get invocations from the Quran and Sunnah. It consists of many authentic du'as for a Muslim to supplicate on a daily basis and on special occasions. The app is available for both Android and iPhone and can be downloaded on Google Play or iTunes stores.
Lamees Dutour has warmed our hearts with her delicious-looking food, and now she's going to warm our stomachs with some yummy cookies. Get out a pen and paper to take down this recipe.
Assalamu alaikum. Of late, my husband has been raving about his new favorite dessert known as the Mexican churro. Going on and on, the diabetic husband that I have, about how delicious this is, I finally got a taster. And guess what? It's something that we all know and we've grown up with. It's the warm water cookie. And the only ingredients that you need for our warm water cookie are the following. I've got some cinnamon sugar. There's no proportions that go into this. I've got 1.5 cups of self-raising flour. To that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I've got 1 whole egg. I've got 50 grams of butter, and please don't substitute this with margarine. It really does alter the taste. We've got 2 tablespoons of sugar, and I've got a pinch of salt just to balance all the flavors. And then, as it's aptly named, we've got warm water to make your dough. So all that you need to do is start off by making a dough using all your dry ingredients. And that is my self-raising flour. And I'm adding my baking powder, our 2 tablespoons of sugar, and literally just a pinch of salt. So I'm just going to take a fork, lightly mix this through, and then you're going to add your warm water. Suppose this reminds me of when you make an eclair and you cook down all of your dry ingredients before you add your butter and your egg. Again, add your water slowly, bit by bit. You can rather add more, but you can't take it away. So this is starting to come together, but not quite enough. That is essentially the consistency that you like. And now you're going to add your butter, which is going to melt into it. And you can see immediately your dough starts to go all glossy and shiny. Okay, so while this is going, just check that my oil is getting warm, because you don't want your oil to be too hot, but you don't want it to be too cold, because then what it does is it absorbs way too much oil. And you don't want an oily warm water cookie. And I'm just going to give this a quick zap with my blender. And there you have your warm water cookies ready to go. Okay, so my oil is just about ready. So what I'm going to do is just create some space so that I can work. There we go. So the first thing you need to do is oil your fork. So what I do, or at least what my mother's taught me to do, is the following. So you make stripes, using your fork again, almost roll it down like you would if you were going to be piping this. So I suppose another way to do this would be to just pipe it straight from a piping bag and get them going into your oil, which is the way the Mexicans do it, I suppose. And you'll see that they go in quite thin, but they puff up really nicely. What you're gonna get is this nice crispy outer covering with a soft gooey inside. But it's like a very pliable type dough. It's not like a donut. It's more chewy than a donut, but as soft as a fed cook, with lots of crunch. So just keep watching your oil temperature, because you don't want your oil getting too hot, because then you're going to end up with a raw varmvater cookie. Nobody likes those. And you can see they're starting to just puff up really nicely. So as these start to go golden brown, just make sure that you keep turning them so that they brown evenly on all sides. You can almost tap on them and hear that they're sort of cooked on the inside, because they give you the sort of that nice hollow sound. Okay, so my first batch is just about ready to come out. So what I'm going to do is get a colander that I've just lined with some tissue paper and a bowl. And this essentially would just be to mix the cinnamon sugar through. So I'm going to start by taking out the ones that are nice and lightly golden and give them a few seconds to drain. When you bite into these for the first time, I promise you'll remember me saying it's like a donut and a fed cook got married and had a baby. That's exactly what these are. Okay, so these have drained nicely. I'm going to set these in a bowl. Whoops. And give a generous sprinkling of cinnamon sugar. And make sure that they're all nicely coated. And these quick roll-in sugar with a cup of coffee or delicious chocolate chip on the side, I promise you, are divine. For me, it's going to be dipped in sugar with cinnamon. Crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. My version of a churro. Delicious. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.